Folks, welcome back to the Todd Durkin Impact Show. This is Todd Durkin, and thank you for the feedback that you guys continually bring every single week. I love what I see. Matter of fact, one of the feedback things I get all the time is, hey, Todd, I love when you bring in some of the interns and people that you work with, and they ask you questions. As a matter of fact, today, you're going to get an MVP intern. His name is Jeff Li. Jeff Li has been an amazing intern throughout the whole pandemic when we opened back up. He's actually taking a gap semester at Pepperdine University. Not so bad up there in Malibu. And he's down here, and he is creating some great impact. But I asked him the other day if he'd like to join me in on the Impact Show, and he was fired up. So without further ado, let's go to Fitness Quest 10 right now with Jeff Li, where he fires away some burning questions. Jeff Li is in the house. Jeff, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing awesome, man. You fired up today?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
So gap semester Pepperdine.
Yep.
Did you know that I used to train Michael King, King World Productions, who produced Oprah and Wheel of Fortune? I used to train him every single day on the track at Pepperdine.
Did not know that.
Probably
Beautiful
because you weren't born, because it was like 1997.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
2001.
2001. See, you weren't even born yet. But every single day I would train Michael King. As a matter of fact, I remember walking around that third stretch, and Michael King was like, hey, should I sell King World? I got like a $2 billion offer. I'm like, billion? Sell, Michael, sell. He sold for over $2 billion, and that deal was done on the track at Pepperdine University. So thank you for being here today and what you've been doing at Fitness Quest 10. You're doing an amazing job.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's a great opportunity here. I love it here. I love the energy and everything.
You started as a client.
Yes, I did. My freshman year of high school.
And were you playing a sport? What made you come in?
Well, at the time, it was because of my head coach. My head coach, his name is Troy Valencia. He's actually really great friends with Marcus. He used to work here.
Yeah.
And so
Marcus Clark, the story of Marcus Clark.
Yeah, and so Troy kind of introduced me to Fitness Quest. I came in, had a consultation with Jeff King. I loved it. I loved the energy. I loved everything you guys have here, the whole mindset. I really like that part of it. And so I started coming my freshman year of high school, kept on going until I graduated high school, yeah.
And then you did board short boot camp with Bristol and King again, right?
Yep.
And then what made you in the midst of the pandemic asked to be an intern at Fitness Quest 10?
Well, being an intern was always something I was thinking about. Always training here, going one-on-one sessions. There have been interns who shadowed me before. It's always something I've been interested in doing. And especially with this pandemic, and online school and tuition and everything, it didn't really make sense for me to go back to school this semester-wise.
Yeah, smart.
So I needed something to do, and I thought, hey, why not get Jeff Bristol a call? I emailed him, and then he referred me to Ryan, and here I am.
Well, Jeff, there's something I say is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Have you heard me say that at all yet?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, I say it all the time because I watch the way you do things. I watch the way you sweep the floors under the outside canopies to make sure they're immaculately clean and pristine. I watch the way you wipe down all the dumbbells and all the little things when there's no one here or there's only a few people here. You're not just, sitting around doing nothing. You're always doing something. You have a very bright future if you decide to do it in the fitness industry or whatever you do because you're very conscientious. What are you studying at Pepperdine?
I'm studying sports medicine.
Sports medicine. You want to be an athletic trainer, physical therapist, doctor, trainer? What do you know?
I don't really know yet, and that's kind of why I'm here as well, just to test the water, see what I like doing. I want to do something I like doing. That's my end game here. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I understand you put down a few questions that you want to surprise me with. So go ahead, fire away, and let's see if we can put a smile on people's faces.
All right, sounds good. So for my first question, like you said before, I've been a client here for 4 or 5 years now, and especially being an intern here for a couple weeks. I was wondering, out of the many different clients you train, whether it's moms, dads, weekend warriors, middle school, high school, college, pro athletes, ex-athletes, what type of clients are your favorite to train?
How did I know you were going to ask that question? How did I know? People always ask me that question. So, hey, what's my favorite client to train? This is going to sound rhetorical, but this is the truth. If someone has the burning desire to get better, I love training that person. See, most people think it's the pro athlete. And let me tell you, I love training the pro athletes. There's nothing like training pro athletes. But honestly, I love the diversity. If I just trained pro athletes all the time, I'd miss the opportunity to work with the kids. Because right now, especially amidst the pandemic, man, having these middle school and high school kids here is like life. It's like oxygen to me, because the kids need to train. Kids need to exercise. Kids need to hear music. Kids need to high five. Yes, an actual high five. Even if it's a air high five. Yeah, or elbow bump. They need that. It's like, I love training anybody. I have a guy right now, man. He's in bad shape, and he's been battling some demons. I love training him because I'm saving a life. When I get an email from one of you fire-breathing dragons who's struggling right now and says, hey, I listen to your podcast every day, and it's like life to me, that's my oxygen that gets me fired up to do what I do. So honestly, for me, it's the diversity. It's the diversity of kids, moms and dads, pro athletes. That's how I founded my business 20 years ago. It's what keeps me still ticking today. I still love teaching my Wednesday night class at 6 o'clock. I'm out there amongst the average Joes and Janes who want to get better, who want to burn off stress, who want to get energy and vitality and have life again. So rhetorical, but that's the truth. I love working with you. If you got a pulse and you want to get better, I want to work with you.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. Every time I come in here, everyone's so motivated, and it has a lot to do with you too. And that leads into my second question, is my first memories of you, Todd, is being in a one-on-one training session and seeing you training your TD Fit class. And what I noticed was it was your passion, your hardworking ability, and just your ability to radiate your positivity and motivation to everyone. And so being such a great motivator and life coach, what keeps you motivated? How are you still motivated, especially in times like this?
What keeps me motivated? What keeps me motivated is serving people. People are energy. People are energy. I need energy. You need energy. Mom and dad need energy. The kids need the energy. The athletes need energy. Everyone needs energy right now. Everyone needs positivity right now. And to me, I'm like this. What keeps me motivated is I can't afford to not be energetic myself. I can't afford to have my head down and, man, life is whooping me day in and day out. I don't want to live like that. And I'm not going to live like that. I'm not going to accept that. So I make the decision that I'm going to do something every day, typically before the sun gets up, that I'm going to whoop its butt before it comes up, and I'm going to start dominating the day. To me, it's about serving people. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, as we record this, I prayed in the morning that God would put people in front of me to have conversations that I really need to serve somebody. Interesting enough, I had 4 random people that I have not served, that I don't train them, talk to me about some really heavy stuff. At the dinner table last night, I was so grateful that I had these conversations with people who I have not talked to in a long time about some demons they're fighting. To me, those are the days that are most fulfilling, when I feel like I have achieved my purpose. So what keeps me going, what keeps me motivated is exactly that. God put in front of me people who need desperately help. They need to get out of a ditch. They need hope. They don't need to, there's no giving up. It's like, I need to get better. Sometimes I get that call and it's almost too late. In a weird kind of way, I almost like that, because it's a challenge for me to say I'm going to save this person on all levels, whatever that may mean. But whether it be battling a drug addiction, whether it be someone who's depressed, someone who's physically can't get off the ground, someone whose business is failing and they can't pay rent, they can't pay their mortgage, they have to figure out how to make a couple $1,000s to put food on the table for them and their wife. Those are the kind of things where I feel like I can do my best work because I'm needed. And I hate to see people in pain, but the fact of the matter is today, there's a lot of people in pain. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who need help and need hope and need motivation. And those are the prayers that I have early in the morning, that I can be put in front of those people who may need to hear that message from me.
It's just so inspirational hearing you talk about that, because I've always seen you as more than a trainer. Like personal trainers, you can see them like everywhere, every gym you go to, but you're a special type of trainer. You're more of a life coach. You train every part of the body, whether that's a mind, soul, spirit, as well as the physical, and that's very inspirational.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I would say this for any trainer. It's how you see yourself. And it's where you, not only where you are at now, but what are you going to become and who are you going to become? Let's face it, COVID has kicked a lot of people's butt, and a lot of people are down and out. I know that I have given out more energy than I have in a long time, and there's days when I'm like, how am I going to do it?
Yeah.
How am I going to muster this energy up? But when I call on my deepest purpose and my deepest faith, when your purpose supersedes your daily energy, your where you're going and your vision and what your purpose is all about, gives you juice, when it gives you life, then you know you're on the right track. And right now, for anyone, we need to make sure we get the juice. We need to make sure we have that vision and purpose of like, why did God create us and what is our design? And if you don't know that, and right now, Jeff, you're in the exploratory stage of life right now where you're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
The best way you figure it out is serve, is doing what you're doing. Because you're going to be like, I love this or I don't love this. The way I found out I did not want to be an athletic trainer at the college was I was an athletic trainer for a year and a half, taping people's ankles unpaid for a year and a half, putting on over 1,200 hours of that. I'm like, you know what? This is cool, but I don't want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
By doing that. I did, as a college professor in the late 90s, early 2000s. I loved it. I was like, I could do this. I really do enjoy the university and college setting. The only way to really find out if you want to do something is to actually do it.
Yeah.
And right now, I know this is there's nothing like action. And for me, it's about serving and living that purpose. And even when you're tired, it's you got to get up and you got to serve.
Okay. Yeah. And that kind of leads into my third question as well. I was wondering, especially now, a lot of people my age, whether it's high school or in college, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. Especially me too. I'm not really sure what I want as a profession, and I hear a lot of people and they say, oh, I found my calling. Like I know this is what I'm here to do. I was wondering if, because you're such a successful businessman in the fitness industry, if you ever had your calling. Did you know this is what you wanted to do from a young age?
Let me ask you this. Do you think you find your calling, or does your calling find you? Do you find your calling, or does your calling find you? See, I thought my calling was I was going to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
That was my calling. I was a good football player, and then life happened. And then it took me down a detour of over 5 years after I blew up my back with 3 herniated discs, spinal stenosis, degenerative back disease, left me motionless on a football field in Aix-en-Provence, France. It left me to do a lot of soul searching. And over 5 years and 12 mentors with 13 different cities in that time, trying to heal my own back pain without having surgery.
Yeah.
What happened in that time was God was stirring in me something that someday I could use that physical pain to someday transform people's bodies, minds, and souls, but I didn't know what that was. And the only way I discovered that was by experiencing different settings. I never set out to be a trainer in my life. I didn't grow up saying I want to own a gym.
Yeah.
I never wanted to own a gym. I didn't know what I wanted to do like you. Was I going to be a physical therapist? Was I going to be a chiropractor, an osteopath, a medical doctor, a teacher, a coach? I had a lot of things. As a matter of fact, I wear a lot of hats now as a trainer, as a coach, as an author, and a speaker. I like the diversity of many different things. I don't think it's necessarily what you do that's important. It's not the title that's important.
Okay.
It's not the title. It's not the what you do. It's how you do it. It's how you walk this earth and how you impact people. So, as an author, as a speaker, as a trainer, how am I impacting people the most? It doesn't matter. Like, what do you call me? See, I call myself a life transformer. Some people may say he's a trainer, he's a coach. Let's never get defined by a title, by your career.
Yeah.
Your career doesn't define who you are. It's when ego gets involved and you start getting certain accolades and successes and you start believing what the world is telling you who you are. I think your true essence is when you know who you are at your core and you're adherent to that and you value that and you don't just be what other people say you should be or what the world says you should be or who you are. Really who you are is your deepest essence of when you edge edge your ego out, right? You edge your ego out and you get in touch with your spirit of how can I best serve my deepest purpose.
Yeah.
The way you do that as a young man or as a young woman today is you continue to ask yourself, how can I best serve today?
Yeah.
How can I use the gifts that I was given by God? And how can I use these gifts to serve mankind and people, whether that be as a trainer, whether that be as a speaker, whether it be as a physical therapist, whether it be as a doctor, an attorney, accountant, you name it. It doesn't matter. How can I use the gifts that I have that I can best serve people?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, that does.
It's hard to understand as a 20-something. Hard to understand. But what I would say is this. If you're willing to bust your tail, if you're willing to run through a wall for something, you're willing to sacrifice things that maybe 90% of the people out there are doing, whether it be socially, financially, you're willing to live a certain lifestyle right now where you can, work and trust your hustle and build up some different skill sets. I believe then in your 30s, that's going to transfer into some really special stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. That's one of the things I preach as well. Like you're saying earlier with me and cleaning stuff and whatever, I don't ever do things halfway. Whenever I do something, I give it my all because there's no point of doing something, halfway and not
Where'd
finishing.
Where'd that come from?
I think that came from my different influences growing up, especially my dad. My family came to the United States when they're in their 30s.
From where?
From China. My dad was a professor. He went across the country and then settled in Lawrence, Berkeley, in a laboratory and started working there. And from a young age, he grew up as a farmer. In China back then, there wasn't much going on, and he didn't have any money. His family didn't have anything, so he really had to build himself up. People his age didn't really take school seriously. No one really went to university, and he was one of the only ones to go. In fact, I think he was one of the first to actually make it out of his village and go to university. And so that's really inspiring to me. And my dad actually passed away from cancer a couple years ago. And during that time in treatment and everything, it was the same thing. He was working and working and working and working, and not just for his job, working to spend time with us, me and my brother, with my mom, working hard, to get rid of his cancer and to get better. So his whole life, he was busting his tail, like you said. And so I try to keep that same energy. I try to keep that same focus and try to make my dad proud in a sense.
How old was your dad when he passed?
Oh, I'm not sure the age, around 50 something.
How old were you?
I was in 8th grade, so that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, he'd be proud of you. He'd be proud of you because the way you move, the way you treat people, the way you interact with people, man, your spirit shows up. And who you are is directly related to your parents, right? Your mom and your dad.
Yep.
On that stuff. So he's smiling down on you, man. Keep
Thank
it
you.
up.
That means a lot to me. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I live my life. I try to do things 100%, 110%. Even when I was playing basketball, I may not be the best player out there, may not be the most skilled, but you can bet I'm going to be hustling, getting every rebound I can, diving on the ground, scratching myself up. It doesn't matter to me. I like it. I like the challenge. So
you're the kind of teammate I like to compete with. You're that teammate that you love to compete with, right? If we could all have teammates that hustle and grind, even if you're not the most talented, is you go out there and you compete. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that leads into my next question. It was about your faith. You mentioned your faith a bunch in your previous podcast as well, and previously today as well. And I personally am a man of faith. I go to Pepperdine University, which is, I have mandatory religion classes and everything. And so I was wondering, how much emphasis do you put on faith, and how has that molded you to be the person you are today?
Well, it's who I am. It's who I am.
Yeah.
It's not a Sunday thing.
Yeah.
It's not a religion thing. People always, I'm a man of faith. for me, it's not a religion; it's a relationship with my Savior, Jesus Christ. When you ask me what makes me tick, my purpose, my God-given purpose. That's a relationship, like any relationship with your parents or with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. It's a relationship. So when you ask me how has your faith played a role in making the person you are today, it's honestly talking to God every single day about the decisions I'm making. See, a lot of people out there would be like, oh, he's, quote, successful. What's success?
Yeah.
What's success? You say I'm successful, but people don't even know the potential inside of me. They don't know what God gave me. They don't even know that God's just working on me like he's just getting started.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I feel like there's a whole second half of my life coming up that no one else even knows of except the big man up top is saying, hey, there's even bigger and better things in store, but you got to be obedient and trust me in that stuff. So for me, it's a personal thing, but it's also something that takes time and commitment on my end, because it's easy sometimes to cast blame or to kind of do it your own way or to be selfish with your time. And for me, it's by all means, I'm not perfect. By all means, I'm not. But I do know this is at the end of the day, the father, the husband, the coach, the author, the speaker, the man and human being that I am is one that is based on my relationship with God and on my faith. And that's something that daily I'm always trying to put deposits into is my relationship with him.
Yeah. And that's really interesting too. Did you always grow up in faith and in religion, or did you have to kind of find your faith later on in life?
Good question. I grew up Catholic, youngest of 8 kids. So I went to church every Sunday or Saturday night without fail. Even when my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, I rode my bike 20 minutes through the woods to St. Dominic's back in New Jersey, and would go all the way through high school and through college. And it was at a chapel service before a college football game on a Friday night when Pastor Freddie Mitchell, spoke to us on a Friday night before the game. Is that any one of you could blow out your ACL, you could have your career ended tomorrow at William and Mary. And I remember Pastor Mitchell saying, "It's not about a relationship; it's about developing. It's not about a religion; it's about developing a relationship with Jesus Christ, who died on the cross to save people just like you."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, like, I grew up Catholic. I went to church all the time, but I never really had a relationship with God. It was like I did my thing and I went to church. I felt good. I loved being there. But that's really when I became a man of faith, when I became a man of God, I would say. And through the trials of life, I lost my father at a young age too. I was 20. He was 58. There's been times I've questioned my faith, but every time I've questioned my faith, I grew stronger in faith by ultimately drawing closer to Him. And to me, even during the last 8-9 months with COVID, a lot of questions like, man, what the heck is this all about? I've also thought about, I wonder if this is God's way of slowing the world down and recalibrating the pace, because how do you keep up the pace that we've been at for umpteen years? Maybe this is a way for Him to draw closer to Him so that we could draw closer to God, with a big election looming, right? One of the things that one of the pastors I go to, Pastor Miles McPherson, is talking about right now, red or blue, what would Jesus do? Red or blue, what would Jesus do? And I love that. Like, what would Jesus do right now? Like, if He was roaming the earth, what would He do? It's not about hating Republicans or hating Democrats. It's about loving your fellow human beings. And what would we do right now to make the world a better place to be? And to me, it's the question I ask myself every day, and I'd say for the last decade. Hey, man, if Jesus was a trainer, what would He do? If Jesus was a speaker, what would He be speaking on? If Jesus was an author, what would He be writing on? So I ask that question myself all the time. And what work can I do that's taking His work through me and putting it on paper or putting it into a session or a class? How could I have meditation or quiet time, which is nothing more than tapping into the whispers that allows you to tap into the wisdom that's inside of you already? We just have to have the audacity and courage to tap into the wisdom to find what those whispers are saying. That's why I wrote Get Your Mind Right. Like Get Your Mind Right, chapter 9, tap into the whispers. Chapter 10, live a life worth telling a story about. What's your story? That's all about divine purpose. That's all about taking the gifts that are inside of you and having the discipline and having the structure in your day, your week, your month, your quarter, your year, to have the structure to deepen your relationship and your faith to ultimately live the life that God ordained you to live.
Yeah. And that's really special too, because hearing that, I draw many parallels to the book I'm reading about extreme ownership. And what it sounds like you're doing is you're
Is that
taking
Jocko's book?
Yeah.
Jocko Willing, great guy, guys. Extreme ownership. Love Jocko. Yep.
Is you're taking ownership in everything you do, and I think that's really amazing because not that many people in the world do that. You know, and by you doing that, it just shows me the type of person you are.
You are a deep soul, and you got a bright future. I encourage you. How old are you now?
19.
You're 19.
Yeah.
Whether you're 19, you're 49, or you're 79, if you always keep that curiosity, life's going to take you far. It doesn't matter. I had that same curiosity at 19 as I do right now, and I hope I had the same at 79 like Pastor Jeremiah has, but he just wrote his book Forward on this. It's not only the intellectual curiosity, it's the spiritual curiosity. It's the mental, emotional intelligence curiosity. It's the curiosity of life. It's curiosity of your purpose. It's the curiosity of how far can you physically take your body? How far can you push your limits? How far can you take your potential in life and push the brink? Because the end of the day, and I don't know when that's going to be for any one of us, but the end of the day, I want to die empty. I want to die to the point where I've given everything out. I've tapped into my full potential. I hopped the pearly gates. I'm like, yo, G-O-D, man, I'm done. And he's like, well done, good and faithful servant. Because if he says those words to me, man, I did my job here on this earth, because we're here for a very short while. But we have something that's eternal planned for us called heaven. That's why I spend the time doing what I do. And man, I didn't think our podcast episode was going to get so deep today.
Yeah, me either.
Man, any closing words for our folks?
Not really. Just I love being here. I love your energy. I love learning so much. I'm learning so much being here. Man, whether it's the business side of things, even the marketing side of things, not just the physical training side of things, you know, I love it here. Absolutely love it.
Jeff, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
To be around your energy is contagious. We call that contagiasm, right? Contagious enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, when you break that down, enthusiasm, right? That's God's life. That's God's force. That's God, that's the energy inside of us. So when you look at that, I thank you for your energy. And when you get back to school at Pepperdine, you get your degree. You keep seeking and searching what you're looking for, and you always have a home at Fitness Quest 10. I don't care if it's as a client, as a trainer, as a coach, as a mentee, whatever it may be, you are always welcome here at Fitness Quest 10. And I appreciate what you're doing now and what you're going to do for the world in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Jeff, if someone wants to follow you, where can they follow you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is _Jeffrey.Li_.
_Jeffrey.Li. How do you spell Lee?
L-I.
L-I. Got that, folks? We'll put it in the show notes. Check out the show notes for all of the great wisdom that Jeffrey Li dropped today with yours truly. I didn't know it was going to go that deep. I asked Jeff to prepare a few questions for me, and every time we have different interns come in and ask questions, they always take a little different spin. And I appreciate you sharing from your heart and your soul today as well. And man, that's going to make some impact out there. If you liked today's session, don't forget to share it. You want to make sure you tag me and tag Jeffrey _Jeffrey.Li and tag it. Tag it on Instagram, and we'll be sure to share that as well. So, guys, have an incredible day today. Thank you for what each and every one of you do. I hope that made significant impact on you, whether it be of your body, your mind, or your soul. Until next time, remember to go train hard, to eat right, and to live inspired.